Anybody who is anti-vegan, well, I shouldn't probably say anti-vegan, but not positively pro-vegan, vegetarian kind of stuff, will argue against many of the points put forward by vegans and vegetarians about many of the reasons that people go vegetarian. So some people go for health. They can go vegan for their health, but then people can read claims that beef's good for you, cholesterol is good for you, and butter is good for you, and they can get confused by that. They can see people who've been ill while being on a restrictive vegan diet kind of stuff, and they can be put off by that. So there's the health, there's the environment. You can see people who are saying, "Oh, but eating animals is good for the environment somehow." Still not sure about that one. And is good for the environment if you're a farmer, if that's your way of making cash. But if not, you've really got to stretch the bounds of reality to get veganism or meat eating to be good for the environment. And then there's the ethical side, and really it all boils down to it's kind of got to be about ethics, because everyone can argue about everything else. There's a guy put up a little climate change, so not just the environment, the climate here we're talking about, which is a little bit different from the environment. So the way I would differentiate it, again, if you read a fantastic book called Farmageddon, this has been well read. This is quite a shocker of information in there, and all relative to kind of American farming, which has come over to the UK as well. So if you want to see some interesting stories in there, have a little read of that. So the difference between environment and climate debate, I would say environment is the fact that they're having these mega chicken farms which are producing 1 million tons of chicken poop, which they can't spread across the fields fast enough, and it starts leaching into all the seawater and starts killing local lakes and rivers kind of stuff. Or so there was chicken's a very good one. Any other example? Or the fishing one. I think they had a good example of McDonald's in there. Whenever they brought out their fish fillet, they got a certain Pacific Coast fish that they used for their fish burgers, and after 5 years they've depleted that whole crop, that whole source of fish, and they've had to move on to a different one, and they're just like harvesting all of them to absolute destruction. So that's environmental, kind of smaller aspects of the environment. But then there's climate, which is like, hey, if I don't eat beef, will I save the world? Which I think, again, is a tough one to really prove that by you not eating a burger, you're saving the climate. No, it's more if there's less farmers producing cattle, might have more of an effect, not necessarily just your eating. So tiny differences going on there. But there's quite a few people that will argue about this and animal protein. So I would say I'll put a link to this down below. The BBC has done a little article on this. I can't quite tell if the BBC is pro or against veganism at the moment. I think they're kind of in limbo. They've got a lot of farmers on their show, and they've got a lot of kind of environmentalists on their show as well. So they're kind of stuck in a hard place. They want to put both sides forward, but I think they just don't want to offend anyone, so they're just being really tiptoeing everywhere. And in the article, the BBC article here, it's got the balanced report, somebody from the global food security. We're talking about what's this one? Chair of the Plant and Soil Science at the University of Aberdeen. He's talking about plants and all that stuff. And you can talk about how much water an animal uses compared to how much some beans would take. You could talk about how much land it takes per calorie. You could talk about, there's an interesting thing I saw them talking about how much beef, they say like it takes 10 pounds of beef and 5,000 gallons of water to make 1 pound of burger. And there's all these stats. Again, statistics all become a bit muddled. You can figure out, is that per lean amount of weight? Is that in feedlot beef cattle? Or is that grass finished cattle and all that kind of stuff? There's this one, sustainabledish.com, has a good breakdown of the lies, damn lies, and statistics. And it kind of goes into like how it really explains how like a typical cow for the first 12 to 18 months is on pasture land, and that's not suitable for cropping, and so forth. And that's when it gains its first like 600 pounds, and then afterwards it goes into where does it go? Like the diet of the cattle eat at a feedlot is between 70 to 8 to 90% grain. And also, but some of that grain is from industrial byproducts like that from distilleries and stuff like that. So that gives you a bit more of a balanced understanding of, oh, they're just getting all this grain. You're like, yeah, but it's grain that was getting thrown out from your favourite beer company. So it's not just all about harvesting soy from the Amazon there, especially if you're talking about local UK stuff as well. So there's swings and roundabouts about it, and anyone can put an argument for or against. It's like, oh, well, if we didn't have all these cows, where would all this byproducts be wasted? It would just be thrown in the bin, or it would pollute the land or something, and so forth there. So that's why in the end, for me, it really just comes down to ethics. It has to come down to ethics. You just don't want to be if you're going vegan, I'm not even saying plant-based diet. If you're going vegan because you just don't want to be part of the final part of the process that involves animals being slaughtered unnecessarily. Unnecessarily bred into existence and then slaughtered at their young age. The other thing that they talk about is a cow can live for 20, 25 years happily. But all cows in the beef and dairy industry are killed at their prime. As soon as they get to their as soon as they get to their biggest, their most economical amount, which is only about 2.5 years old, that's when they're killed. You just kind of go, ah. And I found what was it? There's a structure. This is the Department of Environmental, Food and Rural Affairs. This tells you the amount of total cattle and calves back in 1984. We're going 13.5 million, and it's definitely cut down. We're down to 10.3 million, so we're down about 3 million in a year, which I suppose is good. So it is reducing the amount of cattle that we're using, but it's you just got to think, and then just like, do you really want to be part of? Okay, cool. Some cows get to sleep on lovely grassy fields. Other ones are their heads stuck in cages like this. I know it's a feedlot kind of thing, or they're out in desert lands like that, or all that kind of stuff. It's like, maybe you just don't want to be part of that group, of that end process. The other one is chicken. UK chicken farms. That's just no. Ooh, what is this? What is UK chai? Okay, chicken farms. I thought we'd go there. You just gotta think. It's like 2 in 3 chickens sold in British supermarkets come from this kind of situation. And even when you've got vegetarians on the radio kind of going, oh, what's wrong with chicken? I don't say there's too much of a problem with chicken. Everyone goes, backyard chickens though? No. 2 out of 3, every chicken is massive industrial chickens. Very few are actually out in the ground. They have to have their beaks burnt off so they don't peck each other to death, and they generally are killed after only like 43 days or something. It's pretty tough, and there's different for egg-laying chickens, and then the other ones which are broiler chickens, which have been developed to grow. So again, if you want to know more details, Farmageddon, fantastic information. Broiler chickens, which are genetically selected to grow as fast as possible, and then most of them can't even stand on their own legs, and it's just it's pretty tough. If you've seen the dairy industry footage, if you've seen the chicken industry footage, if you've seen the beef slaughtering process, I can understand if you want to make the argument saying, yeah, but if we need meat, we've got to do that, and you're just being all softy, being a vegan, you're all just soft for animals and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, that could be the case, or at the same time, I could just be opened up enough and brave enough to try and live without needing it. I can adjust my diet in a tiny amount of way so that I'm not needing to contribute to this. So yeah. Health, fitness, environmental, climate change, all of them can be argued, but in the end, you can't really argue against the ethical reasons for being a vegan. So why are you vegan? Because I don't really want to be contributing to or be part of the animal slaughter that's happening all around us. If I can reduce my amount by a tiny, my contribution by a tiny amount, it'll have, yeah, granted, it's going to have no effect, but maybe it is a case of that just makes me morally feel in line with my morals. You know, I'm trying to align my actions, my diet, with my general morals on, you know, don't kick a hedgehog, don't punch a dolphin, don't kill chickens, even if you're going to eat them. But if you don't need to eat them, don't eat them, don't kill them, don't breed them. So yeah, just a little thing. So yeah, again, I just see so many people arguing, like, what was it, the game changers and all that kind of stuff, and people, oh, the climate debate, veganism, it's all lies, it's all propaganda, and it can be all propaganda for all of those. It can be propaganda for the climate, for the environment, for your health, for your fitness, for all that stuff. But can it ever be propaganda for just morals and ethics? Let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye bye.